Hello, honors class. So this week, as I said in the week guide, I'd like you to focus on character interaction while you're reading both homegoing and your independent reading texts. And I want to give you a look at what that is going to look like and the strategy that I want you to use. First of all, when you look at the assignment for reading homegoing, you see I've attached this reading schedule. I know it looks complicated and there's a lot of information. Just want to make sure you see how it's working. So these are all the chapters on the two sides of the family tree. And so we have read the Ephia chapter, that's the first chapter, and we read the Essie chapter. We both all read those 2 weeks ago and then last week. Now we're going to be reading the next 4 chapters split up. So that's this section of the table: Quay, Ness, James, and Kojo. And your names are here by the chapter, under the chapter that I want you to read this week. So everyone will be reading different chapters, or you'll be reading it with 2 other people, and we'll come together and discuss this through the week. If you got any questions about that, let me know, and then I'll be filling this out as we go through the weeks. All right, here's the document with the questions. I'm asking you to state your character name and then give a quick summary of the chapter. Doesn't have to be too thorough, just kind of bullet points of what happens. Then here's the part that I've added to look at character interactions. And just as an example, I did this one for Essie. So as you're reading, I want you to be thinking about the interactions that your character is having with other characters and track that a little bit specifically. So with Essie, I looked at her interactions with Abranoma, or Little Dove, the house girl that her father and mother take into their house to do some of the work around the house, I guess. She is from the other region of Ghana. You probably noticed they're talking about Asante and Fante as 2 different kind of clans in Ghana. And so Essie is in the Asante region and Abranoma is from the Fante region. And I just noticed these few interactions that they had. So on page 36 and 37, Essie sees Abranoma get beaten with a switch 2 different times. On page 38, Essie defends her father's actions and his violence when she's talking with Abranoma. On that same page, Abranoma reveals the truth about Essie's mother and where she came from. And then on page 40, Essie agrees to help Abranoma to make up for how she was treated and to help get rid of the guilt that she's feeling for how her family has treated her. So step 1 of this strategy is just to collect details of interaction while you're reading. Step 2 is to look back at those details and ask yourself what patterns you noticed with those interactions. Think about how they change or what the dynamic looks like. And so when I look back at these, and here this is just up to your interpretation, so give it a shot. This is kind of the meaning making part of this activity. So let me think here. One pattern that I notice is that Abranoma really kind of creates a change in Essie. She really changes Essie's perspective on her own family. This was like both how they treat the slave, or I'm not quite sure what word to use. It's kind of slaves from other villages, and how she understands her mother, since now she knows that her mother used to be a house girl in another village. All right, so that's step 2. I'm kind of making sense of what I'm noticing in the patterns of those interactions. Now in step 3, I want to describe the relationship between the characters and any themes that I notice developing through that relationship. So I would say that the relationship between Essie and Ambronoma starts out very unequal. Essie just kind of feels superior to her and doesn't have any sympathy for her. But then Essie feels more sympathy once Ambronoma reveals her information about Essie's mother. And then I'm just going to keep thinking about the themes that might be developing through this relationship. This relationship or this interaction develops ideas about slavery and how we treat people who we see as different from us. That's really like the big theme that I see developing in this relationship, because that perspective changes for Essie, where at the beginning of the story she was just thinking about, oh, going about my day, and yes, we have a house girl, and yeah, it makes sense that she should get beat. And then her perspective really changes once she gets to know Ambronoma, and once she understands that her mother used to be in Ambronoma's place too. Maybe that's another theme too, is like everyone's position in life could change. All right, so that's just some thinking that you could do, that I'm asking you to do, to focus really on character interactions as you're reading your chapter. I know it's a lot of questions to answer. Do your best. None of this has to be super complete sentences or anything. These are just tools to help you make meaning of these chapters, and it's things that we can talk about when we come together after reading the chapters. Once you've read Homegoing and answered these questions, then if you've got time, although this is less important these weeks, go ahead and practice this strategy too with your independent reading book. I've got a document that looks like this that just has you practice those same 3 steps for your independent reading. All right, enough of me talking. Hope you have a good luck with this strategy, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in our Google Meets class.